Thank you for standing by and welcome to the Mobilicom Investor Webinar and Q&A today. All participants are in a listen-only mode. There will be an initial slide presentation followed by Q&A. If you'd like to submit a question, please do so using the Q&A panel on the Zoom application. Appearing on behalf of Mobilicom today, we have the CEO, Oren Elkayem. So to begin, I'll hand it over to Oren for the presentation. Please go ahead, Oren.
Thank you for everybody, and I'm glad that we are having this webinar. The purpose of the webinar from my point of view is to share with the investors and those that are interested to listen more into the details of each one of the items that we released recently, and therefore help them understand how it's related to the entire Mobilicom strategy that we will see and discuss in a moment. I would like to start, for those of you that are not familiar or with the company focus strategy, with the initial presentation of few slides about the company. So let's begin. So Mobilicom is an end-to-end provider of smart solution and cybersecurity for drones, robotics, and autonomous platform. We have the patents and technology for years due to our activity in the mobile mesh networking and communication, and those are helping us in our focus strategy. We have commercialized product, of course, variety of different families of product that we are already in the market, used by different customers, and are field proven. The company has a very known competitive edge over others, and you can summarize it in three key items. First is the fact that high-profile reference customers are using Mobilicom for their harsh activity, and that stand out if you talk about giants and tier one provider in the world. Second, it's proven again and again and again that it has high security and performance, especially in harsh environment. And most important to some of those customers is the high clearance and security capabilities that defend their information, data, and operation whenever it's needed. Those critical competitive advantages will serve the company as we move forward in the market, and still right now is the base and foundation for many of the relationships we are having with tier one customers. We have a global customer base, so we are international from day one with customers across Asia Pacific, or Europe and United States. And we are targeting with our focus strategy a large, very large market opportunity that, yes, was delayed by a few years, but right now we see great signs that the market is ramping up. And this is where you want to be, in a market that is growing and showing high opportunity going into next 5 to 10 years. And there is significant growth to do over those years. And this is the drones, robotics, and autonomous platform market. If you look at Mobilicom and you would like to understand the essence of an end-to-end provider, it's all about the capability to provide critical aspects of the drones and robotic manufacturers. We don't do the drone. We do the critical building blocks of the drone. We are doing the communication and data link and networking that enables drone operators to control it, to receive the telemetry from it, and to share and receive videos and other payload in real time. We have all the mobile control terminals, a set of new products that we released 2 years ago and already signed several key customers with large opportunities. We are introducing very soon to the world the first cybersecurity suite, which is the only holistic answer for the cyber threats that is going to attack and already started drones, robotics, and autonomous platforms, and protecting the data, protecting the platform, and immuning the communication. Different software tools and cloud services that enable operator to operate the entire fleet. And last but not least is all the aftermarket services, support, maintenance, and activities that are crucial part of delivering such solutions. So you can see that Mobilicom is sticking to its strategy, which by itself is the differentiation factor, the end-to-end provider. There are customers that compete with us on the communication. There are others that compete with us on the mobile terminals. There is almost one or two that are going and targeting the cybersecurity, and definitely not in a holistic way. and so forth. But none of them is providing an end-to-end approach of one place that you can buy all the critical components for the drones or robotics. And that's a critical issue going forward, because we can penetrate to the customers with one of those elements. And then once we are in, upsell the rest. Sometimes we are chosen just for the fact that we can cater for a few angles of the system and take off the burden from the drone manufacturers or the robotics manufacturer from choosing or integrating other parts. It's all coming from one source, one responsibility, one warranty. And that's a critical factor for them and peace of mind for them. And that serves us well when we are going to the markets. You will see more and more design wins and business that we are doing when from day one, we are locking more than one element into the drone platform or into the robotic platform. And that gives us the confidence that the strategy is very powerful. And you will see that it also enables us expansion and upsell of additional elements as we move forward. For those of you that see, the left side are the hardware goods that we are selling in high margins. The middle one, which is the vector of growth of the company going forward, is software and recurrent licensing capabilities. The cyber one, the cloud services, and the last one is all about yearly maintenance or support or program fees that are, again, recurrent solutions. The drones and robotics is a deployment of drones or robotics is a very complex system. If you have elements in the sky, you have elements on the ground, you have operators, you have viewers and listeners that need the information to act, you have control elements that are supervising the entire mission from remote and so forth. All of that requires different elements, different entities, different hardware and software pieces in order to operate a complete solution. The fact that Mobilicom exists and provides solutions in many of those sides and elements of the entire system give us a very important edge over others, because when we are doing security, we protect you from all angles because we exist in all angles, and we maintain that no one will penetrate your system from whenever they are trying to attack it. So such things is very powerful. If you take Mobilicom's components right now, we can cater over 40% of the drone system's overall system value. And that's a powerful number that will serve us for the upsell and expansion. I would like to focus on the next slides after the short introduction on the Psagot as a cornerstone investor that we took just recently. Yes, for those of you that asked, we had cash in the bank that enabled us to go forward and reach 2022. And so we could postpone the raise if needed, but we chose to take it. We chose to take this raise because we believe that we can accelerate the market opportunity that we are acting on. We see the market is shifting and moving. Things that were slowed down and delayed in the previous years are now opening. Standardization and regulatory bodies open the sky, mainly in Europe, but in other places as well. And that's trigger the fact that you will see more and more activities, commercial deployment in larger scopes in the market. And that was a very important signal for us to push the pedal and move faster. Let's discuss a little bit about Psagot. Psagot, for those of you that are not familiar, is a very, very respectable investment house that is originally from Israel, but is owned by a British international private equity fund that existing from the 60s. Apex Partner, which is under a larger conglomerate of investments worldwide. Psagot itself is managing over 180 billion Israeli shekels, which is in Australian roughly $70 billion. So by all means, a very, very large institute. We dealt with two entities within the institute. We dealt with the hedge fund and we dealt with the pension fund. And they both decided to take the entire round and invest in it. They put over $3.6 million in the round, and there was another partner that they allow him to join their partner with initial investment. Why Psagot is important for us? First, as they told me when we negotiated the deal, they can sign any check that we want. It's not an issue for them. In fact, to be honest, such an institutional to invest in small market cap company like Mobilicom is a surprise, because for them it's easier to write a check and buy 50 million or 100 million or half a billion Tesla shares than to negotiate with the same time and effort with a small company like ours. They believe in the drones and robotics market. They see the revolution. Israel is one of the hubs of creation for that market, and they want to have holding in this market, and they investing in that market. They like our strategy, the strategy of one-stop shop that can bring only the critical smart elements of the drones or robotics with diversification, gave them the belief that it's unique in it by itself. And the fact that we are bringing software, hardware, cyber elements give us rooms of opportunity for growth going forward. Based on that, they said that they will invest in Mobilicom and take the entire round. They didn't look for any partners. They also offered me, just mention what the size of the check that you want and we will take it. And you understand that they will be able to support any future activity of Mobilicom, because they are here to do great business and grow with Mobilicom for a long time. They understand that such an investment, it's not something that they can get in and out. They don't care. They believe in the company and the solution and invested in it. It was on market VWAP prices. So it was 6 cents when the company was 6 cents, or roughly in these areas, even a little bit lower in sometimes. So they gave us the market price. I know that Australian investment or brokers many times believe that they could get 20% off and sometimes more. In this case, it was agreed from day one that they would give market price. And that's again confident in the company itself. And we see the partnership with Psagot as those that could generate any future support that the company might need, as well as their partners will be able to partner with Mobilicom, and the fact that they are interfaced to any company in the definitely local or American or Israeli market is evidence by itself for the strategic move that they've done. What we would like to do with the money, where it goes, and what we'll do differently. So I would like to emphasize that the investment and the money that we took and the money that we have will be focused on creating more and more business. It's more and more and more sales and infrastructure of sales that we would like to create. If you would like to say exactly where we're going to invest the money, first is increasing our sales force. If we believe that the market is growing and it's going to ramp up very soon, we have to be there with more forces. We need people on the ground. We need more people that will support us over there. And that's part of the money will go to that, to scale up the business people, to make more and more sales and hit more success stories. When you are working like us with the manufacturers of the drones and robotics, much like with the manufacturers of vehicles, which is a comparable market, the tier one provider like ours would like to be working directly with those that design, develop the next car, in our case, the next robot, and take it to production. So you have to be working directly with them. It's not via channels. It's not with resellers. You work directly, business to business. They would like to work with those that own the technology. So you have to have people on the ground. If in Europe, which is the market that is opening and release the regulation first and open the entire sky of 27 countries from January this year, is the biggest car manufacturer, believe me, it's also a very powerful place that manufacture drones and robotics. And you can see France and Germany, much like in vehicles, are the places where the manufacturers and the designers of robotics and drones are based. So we would like to take people on the ground there and make the marketing and the support and the customer success, which is the support engineers on the ground. Definitely with COVID, it's very powerful to enable them to be there and not try to fly, which is hard. And that's part of the investment. Second is we are bringing to the market a big revolution of specific cybersecurity to protect these drones, robotics, and autonomous platform. We invested in that many millions of dollars together with others that pitch in and put a lot of money as potential customers for that. And we would like to launch it properly and bring the unique offering to the market. This marketing campaign, this sales campaign to bring it to market will be core of our growth in the future, but also core of our investment in the coming year. The combo and cloud solution offering that was released in beginning of 2021 and already have beta sites and have initial customers, we would like to push it forward and grab more and more customers into it. And last but not least is, of course, implementing all the software cases, all the recurring revenue models. That is important. And we will focus first in Israel and Europe. Israel is a very big player in this market worldwide, not just for the Israeli market, but selling worldwide from the giants in Israel that are operating in this market, European countries, and of course, maintain our strategic customers in Asia Pacific and American markets. So we have today global success. We managed to penetrate and close design wins and partnership with customers that are build their platform based on us and have recurring revenue streams for the company as they promote, sell, and deploy first systems into the market. And we see several players from that angle. We would like to increase that. Our focus is always bringing right now the biggest, the tier one players, those that most likely will win significant market share. If you are selling element to a car industry and you know that you locked BMW or Mercedes, you know that we locked a tier one player that will definitely have strategic position in the market. This is where we want to be. Not more volume of different names, but important names in the industry that in each avenue of different solution in robotics, autonomous or operation, teleoperation or drones will be significant players. Remember, it's a new market, it's evolving. It's not that we know exactly how much each one of them will hold percentage-wise of the market share within 2 or 5 years from now, but we can believe that those that are big and have made giant step into this market and putting hundreds of millions of dollars to promote this market will have better chances to win. And this will be our focus. We definitely see the market is growing. We see that by the fact that we see that the government market is growing and the government market is shifting from small amount of drones, robotics platforms for Navy and Air Force to large amount of units, okay, that are serving the Army, widespread across different Army people, which the numbers over there are critical and higher. So that is one growth. And the second is the commercial market, more commercial. And the fact that the European Union opened the sky, enable deployment and will enable upscale of that from the beginning of this year is a great promotion to the market. If until now regulation slow down the process, we believe that it will accelerate the process right now, and opening the sky, enabling mass deployment is a key and vital for our success. And based on that success, we would like to invest. We explain in our focus strategy how we are working. We are working directly with the customers. So working directly with customers, we are targeting the tier one customers, the big ones in the drones and robotics. We then try to convince them against others that we are the partner of choice for them, that we can help them regardless of which component of Mobilicom they will take. And then start with one, interface with that and design into their solution. That's why it's called design win. This is the most critical phase of our relationship. Yes, it's low revenue in the beginning. They are buying few tens of systems in order to design around their new platform, their new robot, the new drone. But once they are designing it and moving to demonstration to their customers and starting to produce it to a project or deploy initial systems, it's very hard for them to change because the customers already engage with that, because they have to have replacement and repairs for 15 years, because the production lines are ready for that. So it's not easy to change it if you lock the design around your solution. And that's the critical piece in the business model that we are doing. And then we can upsell and we can enjoy more revenue as they're deploying larger projects. So moving from demonstration and tens of systems to demo and create the market on their end, to their deployment where the numbers are ramping up and there is more aftermarket elements that are required to be bought by Mobilicom, and then upsell of additional components of Mobilicom to the same customers or expansion to additional platform is another vector of growth for us. And by that, we would like to achieve the growth of Mobilicom. Let's see how it was translated to the recent wins. The logos that you've seen recently on one of the slides is good. There are good example of key players. Let's discuss ST that we locked. For those of you that don't know, ST is a very large conglomerate. They have over 100 subsidiaries operating mainly in Asia Pacific, traded in the Singapore Stock Exchange. I think it's one of the largest companies over there with over $7 billion of revenues on a yearly base. They also heavily involved in robotics, drones, unmanned and teleoperation platforms in sea, air, and ground. We first tackled their robotics arm, a company within the conglomerate of ST that design and develop robotic solutions for public safety, disaster relief, homeland security activities, and defense. And they chose us. They chose us again by two components, Mobilicom controller and Mobilicom data link, the element and platform that with it you control the mission and operate the entire mission, and the communication elements, which are at least two or more in each system, because one at the controller side and one on the robot side that operate the mission. So they chose two of our 5 key building blocks into this market, which means from day one, they are locked entirely around us. If you have one element within the customer, the retention rate is good, but not ultimate. If you have 2, it's increasing to over 80%. If you have 3 elements within the same customer design, it's over 90% retention rate. And that's locking the customers. It's very hard for them to move, shift, and change. So the fact that they started with 2 is a great example. And we were chosen as a design win for the next robot. We deliver the goods. The elements are on the integration. Our support and customer success team is working directly with their engineers when they are embedding it within their design and making it an entire design for a robot that could be taken to demonstrate to the customers and then manufacture in higher scales. And as they will manufacture in higher scales, we automatically get the POs and the purchase orders and get more revenue. So over here, the most important stage was making them choose Mobilicom over others in this field. If we look on Plasan again, it's a veteran in the market of vehicles and teleoperation of vehicles and protected vehicles. They are selling in billions of dollars over the years to the American market, to Oshkosh and other manufacturers. They are, as written, 30 years into the business with tens of thousands of fitted vehicle solution in 20 countries. They are designing an autonomous vehicle, teleoperated vehicle that can be controlled from remote to serve for the homeland security or security industry, either for a government or for critical infrastructure in different countries worldwide. And the first platform that they designed, it's called the Stinger. You can see that. They showcased that in United Emirates' latest exhibition in this field and demonstrated the vehicle. The uniqueness of the vehicle is that it could completely be controlled remotely by an operator that doesn't have to dangerous the team and bring the platform whenever they want and to investigate, protect, or act on behalf of the activity. They also have very important goods and arms and other elements on the vehicle that you have to operate from remote. So imagine like if you have a jet fighter, that there is a pilot and behind it there is someone that controls all the equipment and systems and the operation that this pilot is, that this aircraft is doing, much like in a vehicle. There is one that will control the driving, the autonomous driving and will direct it and monitor it and be that the pilot of the vehicle. And the other one will operate the entire systems and protection elements from remote. In each system like that, we interface 2 data links of Mobilicom, which is 4 pieces, one for the vehicle control and one for the armed elements control. So we have 4 elements, 2 on the vehicle and 2 on the control stations, and 2 control stations, one that are driving the vehicle and one that is driving, operating the control systems, the ammunition systems. This dual links and dual controller system means that we are embedded in many elements within each vehicle. And right now, after it was integrated successfully and operating and proving that it's working well, they are taking it to customers to showcase and promote their sales and lock the design, they lock the deals. Once they are increasing in their sales and locking a project, we are already inside. Rafael, again, very important player, and they are pioneer in the defense cyber security solutions and markets. They are very known for being very ingenuity in their field. By fact, they also developed the Iron Dome. For those of you that saw the last campaign in Israel, when there was over 4,000 missiles shot on Israel, and there was like an umbrella of protection, protecting the citizens of Israel from any missile to fall in. This is the Iron Dome system. It's an imaginary system that can protect the entire state with that capability. It was designed by Rafael. So this innovation also brought them into the field of unmanned platforms and sea, ground, and air. We were, I cannot reveal exactly which element we are integrated in and what is the platform, but I can share with you that it's a high runner solution that is joining a family of very large scope of sales that they've done in the previous generation. And we received the first order. It's again stage 1 of designing and integrating 2 pieces, controller again and communication devices to the unmanned platform. The delivery of the elements will be done in 2021. That will lead to further orders of scalability in the following years. So this is Rafael. So you saw those examples that if we're going back to the slide of how we are working, those are definitely, as you can see, tier 1 customers. We are working only on those that we believe that in their area of activity could be among the leaders. And I gave you the example why those are large organizations. We also discussed the fact that those companies we managed and chose Mobilicom over others. And more than that, chose Mobilicom in 2 of their products lines into their systems. In each such system, there is maybe 8, sometimes 10, sometimes 12 different critical components. We contributed 2 of those into the system in each one of those design wins. So that shows the significance that we were chosen in competition, we were proven better, and we are the solution of choice or 2 solution of choice in each one of their platform. In some of those platforms, we have several elements or multiple elements to operate, which means that any unit they will sell, we will sell several elements to them. And now some of them are already moving to preparation for production and demonstration and scalability with their customers. Then we will generate our revenue, and we are sitting and waiting for them to lock their deals. As an OEM deal, once they are locking the deal, we automatically receive our solution. And since those are large organizations, I can share with you that all of them will lead to expansion into additional divisions or upsell of our additional capabilities like the cybers and the rest to the same customers that will generate additional revenue stream from the same customers going forward. So it's going hand to hand and proving our strategy is working. And the one-stop shop that they can buy more than one component is a critical differentiation factor and advantage for Mobilicom. I think that the 4 elements that I mentioned, the design wins, and the fact that we are backed right now with a giant like Psagot that decided to put critical investment and support the company going forward with a clear statement that we are behind this company and believe in it as a large institutional, bring us the foundation of growing and putting all the foundations for growth and larger sales, because those projects that are sold are increasing dramatically. They are not, will not stay in small numbers. This is about the Mobilicom, why we took the Psagot strategic investment, and that will enable us to grow faster and accelerate our growth, and the fact that we locked significant design wins that sometimes seems without numbers not really big and important, but after I demonstrated the critical or the importance of those organizations, you understand how they can jump and ramp up our sales, and that's important factors for going for the future. Questions?
Thanks, Oren. Just as a reminder to everyone, if you would like to ask a question, you can do so using the Q&A panel on the Zoom application. We'll get to the first question, one that I know you've been asked a number of times before, Oren, but when will Mobilicom be cash flow positive?
So Mobilicom always that we would like the market to ramp up. As the market is ramping up, Mobilicom will be able to generate volumes of sales, which was translated to many millions of dollars, that will be enabling the company to grow, take larger market share, and be cash flow positive. We believe that it's not far that we can turn into cash flow positive. You've seen the numbers in last year, in the COVID-19 year. It was, we lost about 2 million. Yes, we are accelerating our activity in the business, but gaining more revenue right now, and the revenue numbers are growing. And those that picked up that the numbers that we see in the middle of the year with the deals that we locked already exceed the numbers of last year, that's important signal that we are headed in the right direction and growing. So we believe that within a year to year and a half from now, Mobilicom could be cash flow neutral if you choose so, and be profitable later on. So Mobilicom can reach this milestone in a very short process with market scalability.
Thanks, Oren. The next question is with regard to the drones and robotics market, and what signs you're seeing that that's starting to mature, and what are those signs?
So being in the high tech, in the startup market for over 15 years, I can say that it's always a critical question when the market is happening. If the market already happened and you are following it as a small company, it's hard. If you are before the market, you are waiting, which could be brutal for a company. And we've seen it happening also to Mobilicom. So timing that, it's a critical factor that not always you control. We've seen that the market was delayed, and that's the truth. Over the last 2 years, we've been ready with products. Yes, now we have much more products, different families, larger position in the market, but we waited for the market to happen. It's much like we have a vaccine for the pandemic, but the pandemic is not there. So those of the companies that have the vaccine for, let's say SARS, it's not really important. Once the SARS will come, they will make their billions of dollars. We see the market happening right now. The fact that I don't want to touch and discuss the market research. It's important fact, but not the most important one. The most important is the trends that you see in the market. Many more armies, when the numbers of soldiers are bigger and they want to bring it to the lower level, army platoons and campaigns and teams are buying more and more robotics and drones. The scale, the numbers in the armies are more than 10 times, sometimes 50 times of the scales and magnitude in numbers than Air Force, because there is plenty of teams and campaign and platoons in the army. So the shift to the army from Air Force and Navy to the army is scaling up. And the recent project that we won of millions of dollars are from this area, which signifies that it's important, it's ramping up. Second is the commercial. Commercial, as much as this drone industry can give those that want to operate it a great ROI and save them tons of money and make them more profitable and more efficient, it will not be able to unleash itself, the revolution, if the regulatory body like CASA and others will not support and allow it. And the fact that the European Union opened the sky is a critical factor. Until a year ago, if you wanted to do a drone operation or even design a drone, the drone regulation in south of Germany and east of Germany were completely different. So you had to design different elements. How can you, as a car manufacturer, for example, if you have to design a different car for a different section of the country, that's a crucial thing you cannot mass produce. Once the entire sky of the entire European countries, the 27 of them, was unified to one area under one rule with one regulation that was open from January, will enable those that design drones and robotics and autonomous platform to design something for the entire market. And that will bring the scalability. And that showcase to the world that yes, they are serious. In addition to the fact that the behemoth customers that we understand and know, all the Googles of the world, the Amazons of the world, all understand that drones, robotics can create larger revenue for them and decrease dramatically their expenses. And by that, their efficiency will grow and their revenue and profitability will grow. They are doing it because they see that it's clear. All the testing that they've done showcase that. And that's a critical factor for the growth. Yes, there are other things that will signal that, but those elements that I mentioned show that it's already starting. And we see that from the market. Although we are still in COVID-19 effects and most of the world is still locked and it's hard to travel, we see more momentum in our sales and more design win and more customers. And in fact, less people intervention like required in COVID-19 means more robotics, drones, and teleoperation from the market that we are coming. So it's going hand to hand with the pandemic decisions on how to react and act on such cases.
Thanks, Aaron. Who are some of the behemoth style customers that you'd like to be targeting and getting into?
Okay, so let's take the slide of the behemoth ones and just use it for the future. Okay. When you look on those customers, some of them are trying to design or their own platforms for robotics, drones, or other activity. But many of them are buying that from other players, okay? So they, for example, if you see in Australia, the Australian Post, which are also targeting to do delivery with drones in suburban and rural areas to save a lot of money of trucks and people and vehicles and bring deliveries within short time instead of weeks to those edges, you understand that they don't design the drone by themselves or don't design the robot by themselves. They partner with those that do it. So they're buying vehicles and trucks for delivery from other companies of car manufacturer. They will buy the drones or robotics from drone manufacturer. Few, like Google Wing or Amazon Prime Air, are also designing their platform sometimes to learn, to understand, to get into the market. Those are giants. We would like to work with those that supply to DHL. It's not DHL itself. It's a European entity that are working in this field and doing those drones. And those are target for us. And that's why we took different companies that are serving European market like Airbus and DHL and other big giants that are designing their platforms in European market. So we target the designers and manufacturers of the platforms that are going to work with those customers, okay? Some of them, like the biggest aviation companies like Boeing and Airbus, we have direct connectivity to them because it's important, because they are trendsetters, because they are obviously will be leaders in this market. And we are working with them. By the way, to become a provider or to be chosen as passing all the internal process of becoming a contractor or provider to Boeing or Airbus could be a process of 1.5 years. The amounts of files that we filed for Boeing was tremendous, and visits and inspections and so on. So just the fact that Mobilicom was chosen and entered and passed those processes is a fact for the credibility that we have by giant in this industry.
Thanks, Aaron. The next question is what is your differentiation from similar products in the market, and why has Mobilicom got better technology?
Okay. Let's look on those slides. For those of you that in with Mobilicom journey for a longer time, the first thing that you saw from Mobilicom is the mobile mesh networking, data links, video, and all those elements. It's over 15 different products that are scaling from 45 grams to several kilos, that are operating between few kilometers to 100 kilometers and so on. In this market, there is 6 different competitors that compete with us. Most of them are coming from United States that can bring the same level or close to it of technology. What we are bringing over there is the fact that we have the patents. We are the core provider of all the elements down to the bits of the technology. We are very flexible. We known for the fact that we have great operation results in harsh environments. It's easy to operate a drone or robot in your backyard and demonstrate it if you're operating on Wi-Fi. Try to take it to a mine site. It will never work for you. So you have to understand that most of the operation that Mobilicom is targeting is in areas that clear differentiation in technology will set the bar higher for others to enter, and by that will enable Mobilicom to charge more for its cutting edge technology to get better profitability. So we have over here clear differentiation on the operation in harsh environment against all others. And when FLIR chose Mobilicom earlier this year, and they're reaching test against 6 competitors, most of them American companies, because it's an S&P 500 company, will choose probably partners in their field. So we reached 19.2 kilometers in the testing that they've done in the test field, and they was chosen for the best performance. And we are bringing that also with a very competitive price point. So it's cutting edge technology from a very known source that you can trust the source. It's not, forgive me for saying, Chinese or other sources that are not encouraged in the market, and especially in the Western countries. And on top of that, performance, credible source, and very lucrative price point bring us the competition in. And we have other elements. We can, for example, the mobile terminals, the control terminals and mobile control terminals, we are embedding more and more elements inside. While we have competitors that bring different joysticks and hardware and electronics, we can embed the cyber in, we can embed the communication in, we can embed everything inside. So make it sexier, cheaper, and more holistic as a solution, all in one. So that gives us an edge. The cyber, by all means, from discussion that we have with different entities around the world, including the Israeli MOD, Minister of Defense, and the Israeli cyber, the nation's cyber authority, we understand the powerful tool that we are having. And I had a discussion with them. Am I the only one that can see the problem? And they says, no, the world will be shocked with it. And then you have the cure. So the fact that we have different building blocks covering different aspects of the drone's critical components by itself is a critical advantage and differentiation, because we are the supermarket of the most critical, expensive portion of this robotics and drone revolution. And we are source that they can trust with cutting edge technology, and we bring you end-to-end approach. And that by itself is important. And you've seen in the last wins that we lock more than one element inside, and that will give us the capability to upsell the cyber and cloud services and other elements as well.
Thanks, Aaron. We'll just take one more question, which is, in short, what does the news flow look like for the company, and what sort of catalysts do you think are there to improve the share price?
So I think like anything else, you've seen that we have a large backlog that came from last year, and additional wins and deals that we locked this year. And the most important is fulfillment. Let's fulfill more and more and more elements. And that's critical factor going forward. And if we fulfill it, that means that we shift things from backlog to revenue recognition for the company. And we would like to show that we are able to deliver to those customers and scale up. The second is, of course, locking more design wins with large institutes means that you can guarantee that you will have significant ramp up in the sales going forward. So we will focus on items that are coming from that end, as well as clearly bring the innovation and release the things that we invested in the last 3 years in development. So the investment in development is not going to increase. We are going to just bring them to the market, and then based on that, have additional growth on the software elements or cyber elements of the company. So if you look on that, it's a great question because we have a slide for it. You can see the business wins that we've done in the recent months, but we would like to lock more design wins going to the future. What we expect from ourselves is locking more design wins with tier 1 international vendors that can bring us into the future sizable orders. We would like to expand and upsell to tier 1. We would like to take some companies that we penetrated and managed to show you that the strategy of getting in with one of the products, but then upsell other products of Mobilicom from the end-to-end strategy is working. We would like to lock additional Asia Pacific partners. ST is a great example for one of the biggest in Asia Pacific. We would like to expand our activity, for example, with FLIR to showcase, yes, we've done one division with the platform. We would like to go to the next and show you that we want next. That expansion strategy is working. We would like to show that we have more EU customers. So that is the funnel that we are building behind the company.
Thank you very much, Oren. That's the final question for today, but I'll hand it back to you just for any final comments.
So first, I would like to thank you for joining. The hardest thing for me is to convey the message why the different moves that Mobilicom is doing is going to contribute for its scalability and growth and large sales volume into the future. I know it's hard to believe, it's not easy, but if you monitor what we are saying that we're doing, and you will see that we are delivering on that, and we are delivering that with high magnitude profile companies that will definitely have market share, and you see the numbers growing on the revenue, it means that we are making our promise and going to deliver on our dream of scaling up to larger numbers. And we are in the right direction. There is sometimes slowdowns, but I see the future. It's happening. I'm a believer. I hope that you too.
Thanks very much for that, Oren. That concludes the session for today. Thanks to everyone for participating, and you can now disconnect.
Thank you.